And this is Paul Como, who's also on the board of directors with me with the NHLA, and he's the local Raymond guy. So we're in good company, and as Brian mentioned, what we're doing right now is trying to get people that are fired up, like you in the Tea Party movement, some of the 912 groups, and let's channel all that energy into better government, lower taxes, more individual liberty. And so what I wanted to share with you is one opportunity, one way to do that here in New Hampshire. So the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is an all-volunteer, nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to moving public policy in a pro-liberty direction. And our volunteers do that in a number of ways. We often go to Concord, almost every week we go to Concord. We testify at some of the public hearings, committee hearings in the legislature, both in the House and the Senate. We like to ask on every bill, does it follow the state constitution? Does it cost more money? Does it expand freedom or limit freedom for New Hampshire citizens? So now this is the year to really take a lot of the energy that's out there for people like you and this group and start channeling it towards getting better people in office and making a difference to kind of take back the state, as we say, from those who want to constantly grow the size of government, expand their departments, expand their power, and reduce your freedom. So we do that in a couple of ways. First of all, we have a group of about 30 dedicated volunteers that track, read, and review almost every single bill that comes before the state legislature, which is tough duty, but there are 1,000 bills typically every year that come up before the House and Senate. So our people will review them on our proprietary software and rate the bills on either pro-liberty or anti-liberty scale. And those that are really good or really bad, we'll follow up with rallies, getting people out there to testify at the meetings, at the committee meetings. Then secondarily, we track those through the process, and again, the votes that have a clear liberty message, either for or against, we bring those up and remind the legislators each week. So typically every Wednesday, the House votes on the bills, maybe 20, 30 bills that day. We publish something called the Gold Standard, where we will pick 5, 10 bills that are coming up that day and give the liberty argument for state legislators. Keep in mind that with 1,000 bills, there's no way any of them could read all the bills. Nobody does it. It's just like Congress in Washington. Another thing is that they're lucky if they can just read all the bills on their individual committees, and there are 20 different committees. So typically, legislators will just kind of default vote with the committee recommendation, which is often wrong, it's often partisan, it's often misdirected. Sorry if I sound a little skeptical on what they did in Concord, but it's dangerous. So it's good to have watchdogs like this group keeping an eye on them. And with our bill, again, we ask, is it constitutional? What are the unintended consequences of the bill? And will it expand liberty or deny your personal liberties in New Hampshire? Then, at the end of the year, each year, we will call the results of a number of votes where there was a clear liberty angle on that bill, and there's a public record of the votes, and we will rate the legislators. So this is nonpartisan, and Paul's going to hand out, if anybody didn't get one of these, please raise your hand. I'd like to talk about the liberty rating. This is a report card, if you will, that serves as a voter's guide. Every year, we will rate all state legislators. We do the senators, but it's mostly in the House. All 400 reps, based on their votes that year. And keep in mind, we're sort of a, if you will, a kind of a libertarian-leaning organization, meaning we try to stay away from social issues and concentrate on fiscal issues, good governance, public policy, accountability, and transparency. And we give a simple letter grade from A to F, just like school. There are pluses and minuses. And there's one grade that's worse than an F, and that's a CT. You'll see that in there. That's constitutional threat. And unfortunately, there are several of those in the State House. It's scary, again. We'll put somebody on the spot here. Let's look up Raymond. It's alphabetical by town. I realize some of you are from different towns as well. Anyway, you just look this up by senior legislators. You have 3 of them here. They happen to be Republicans: Bishop, Halsell, and Kepler. And from last year, because we haven't finished this session yet this year, but looks like Kathleen Hosel voted very well on our scale, and Mike Kapler also did pretty well. So we'd like you to use this as you're out there talking to neighbors. Maybe you're going to help a candidate this year, maybe work with candidate, maybe run yourself for state rep. Use this to help encourage people to toss out the bad legislators, and let's get somebody in there who's going to do a better job. So I'm willing to take questions. Paul and I are happy to take questions while we're chatting here. So I know I went through it kind of fast. Another thing we do as an organization is try to help identify, recruit, and train candidates for the state legislature. We also get involved a little bit at the local level with town boards and school committees, but mostly we're a state-focused organization. And we do regular training this year, ramping up, and maybe Don will raise his hand back. Don Gorman back there is one of our past board members, and he's a former state rep. He does the training, grassroots training for candidates and campaigns. So if any of you is actually thinking about running, please see Don or one of us later on, and we'll be happy to plug you into that training. Or maybe you know somebody that's going to run and you'd like to help them out. Or maybe you just want to get involved in politics or in a race, and we'll show you what to do to help out the candidate. Anything else on this, Paul? We should add? Oh, yeah, thank you. And go ahead. It's your question, please.
Yeah, in the interest of fairness and trying to be a little proactive here, I'd like to call attention to Elizabeth Sanders in Danville.
In Danville.
Yes, you have her on the CPR, which apparently is a dereliction of duty list.
Yes.
I need to tell you, you need to be careful on that one. She has been stalwart, but she did have some health problems last year.
Thank you for pointing that out. That's exactly right.
She has been stalwart in her focus on whether it's an expansion of government, whether it's fiscally responsible, and so forth. So be very, very careful of that.
Okay, that's a good point. Thank you. You mentioned the gal from Danville. The reason our rate would be a dereliction duty is for somebody who didn't show up, and usually it's because of a health problem. So thanks for pointing that out.
It's going to be used against her by the Democrats this fall. I can see it coming.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how she did this year. Hopefully, if you say she's a stalwart, I'm sure she'll get a good grade this year. So we'll have that at the polls. These actually make great communications. You build a sign, and just for people in your town, and put the NHLA rating, you just stand there at the polls all day. You know, AB plus, or AB DF. You know, let's toss out the S and the D's this year. So it helps voters. Paul reminded me that we have a PAC, a Political Action Committee. We vet candidates for state rep and state senate. We hand out a candidate survey every year right after filing, and invite the candidates from both parties, all parties, R's, D's, L's, independents, and with a series of questions, we will offer endorsements. We also we write checks for the candidates at state rep and senate level. So that's an important part of what we do from soup to nuts for advancing liberty in New Hampshire. What other questions? Membership. What's the cost? Brian's going to rely on time.
I was just going to ask a question. Go ahead.
Membership is free. We're all about freedom. And of course, we do have expenses for printing, things like this, so there's a paid membership for those that like to contribute. It's only $20 for 2 years. But you can join and be part of our active online community and part of our rallies for free. We'd appreciate all of you to join or visit our website, nhliberty.org, and see if you like what you see there. Brian.
We've been thinking about doing, like I said, there were the checklist on positions and everything, but the question got brought up in one of our meetings, is that legal? If we're affecting an election and they can say that one of those checklists are wrong, that they didn't really vote that way, they don't really think that way, is there a legal problem with that, or are we completely free to just pass out pamphlets saying that they voted this way?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay, you never hit
There's all sorts of information out there that's biased.
Okay, so you never run into a problem like that?
Well, we don't. We have a...
I don't think lying in politics is illegal.